In this video you will see 10 mini tutorials about how to draw capes, heads and Hulk-like creatures, just to name a few. In addition to that, you can watch David draw Cable, his part of a collaboration with Dr. Rocke.
Let's go!
I'm David Finch. I've been a comic book artist for over 25 years. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and share with your friends. We're live.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gonna get.
Attaching the hand to the arm.
So drawing the hand coming out of the arm, it really comes down to drawing your wrist properly. And so I'm going to draw a rectangular shape for my wrist, and then the upper part of my arm is an opposite rectangular shape that it kind of connects into. And then the hand connects here, and the hand from the side has you could almost say it has a bit of a wedge and then a shape like this, and that would be the back of the hand, and your thumb comes out this kind of a shape, and then the wrist connects up here. So the wrist doesn't actually connect into the flat of the hand. It connects toward the top, and it has a bit of a shape to it. And so that would be my hand here. Just like this. I kind of got a little confused with my shapes there, but that's the general construction. You've got a bone here, and so let me lighten this down. And here's my upper forearm, my thumb. The thumb has tendons that connect up into the arm. And then there's a bone here. That would be this one right here on the back of your arm. Look at this. I've got from scratching my arm. We have horses now. I'm allergic. And then the hand actually connects here. So that would be, and it's actually two tendons. You can see slightly anyway on me right now. A tendon here, and then there's another one here, and they connect up into the arm to your thumb extensors along the back here. And so kind of indicate them that in there. And the wrist is 5 million little muscles or 5 million little bones in here. There's my 5 million little bones. Nobody understands that stuff. I sure don't. And so for me, I know that my connection is here. I've got my tendons running up along the back of the arm here. And I just worry about my major landmarks. I've got my extensors coming in here. So much of my shaping is I'll draw, here's a shadow, and I'll connect it with another shadow, and here's my bone sticking out here, and these are going to connect. And a few shapes like this can really indicate a lot of detail. That's how I do some of the smaller muscles on the body. That's truthfully how I end up approaching them. From the inside, you have your same rectangular shape, and your hand connects to that, and when you twist your arm, you'll see these two bones actually turn over each other, and so that affects the muscles along here, and they follow that bone turning. That's a bit of another thing, but it's a little bit too much to just go into here. And I actually did an arm construction video where I kind of went into that, so hopefully that'll help too. And
check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
How to draw a head.
This will be my center line for my face. And then I know I want my eyes to be, I'll just put the eyes there. And then I'm going to draw my nose, and that means my chin is going to be the same distance again. There's my chin, and my forehead will be the same distance again. So I have 4 even divisions. And then I can draw a line across here. It comes out a little bit, and then it comes into the chin here. Your mouth sits about halfway between this and this, just a little bit higher. And from this angle, I'm going to wrap my head. This is the part that gives people the most difficulty because these divisions being even is pretty easy. Getting this head from different angles, like from the side, I'm having a little trouble. I'm trying to arc my arm around. From the side, you've got a ball like this. Your ear sits along this line and kind of angled back just a little bit. So just about like this, your forehead, your nose, your chin, far down with that chin, or your eyes, I said forehead. And that's a little bit easier to get the hang of, but angling it, the more you angle the face, the more this gets shorter. And so there's a little bit of, you just have to kind of do it and experiment with it and look at faces from people that do it really well and break down their faces in just a simple shape. And that's a really good way to get the hang of it. So I've got an eye here, my brow, eyebrow, nose, mouth. There's my face. So that's in
knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Basic terms how I approach it. And when you have that form working really well, then it makes it much easier to angle it up. So I've got, you know, this is my eyebrow line, my forehead, my nose is here, and the nose projects
eyes,
out.
ears, mouth, and
Please
nose.
Stop. Holy jeez.
It's just so fun.
And so, yeah, and it gets easier. And I would say look at faces from different angles and see if you can break it down using these shapes. And that's the best way to learn it, is learning from faces that are well proportioned, and you'll get a really good sense of it really quickly.
How to draw capes.
Capes. I've got a couple of things that I want to say. And so I'm going to draw, here's my basic shoulders, my neck is here, so my head's going to be here. We don't need too much of that. And we'll say the shoulders, or the cape's going to connect here and here. And I did a video where I did some folds, and I just threw in as a quick bonus, but just to show you guys again, I just do this kind of a construction. So it's a shape like this, and then it connects down, and I just come under like this, and I can do that a little bit too if I want, but I just repeat that shape. And even though it's the same shape, you want to change up your sizing a little bit, but it really has a lot of dimensions. So that's the best way that I've found, certainly, to wrap a cape over shoulders, just connecting these shapes over and over. And for the bottom of a cape, now if your cape is shaped like this, from the back, here would be your feet. It's got small feet. Then when it drapes, you would get this kind of a shaping here, just like this. And it's a very easy thing to do. You just draw a squiggle and then just connect, come up, and it's a very easy way to get something that looks like drapery from behind. And then in the center of the cape, from the back, I'm going to draw the top of it. What you really want to think in terms of is just, it's like a connecting line. So I've got a line, a line, a line, line. I'm going to show you how I would actually approach it. I draw a shadow, and then another shadow, and another one, and that's how I actually really think about this stuff, just in terms of shadows kind of connecting together. And it really is this kind of a pattern, but I find working off simple lines like that and trying to make it make sense, for some things it works and some things it doesn't. And I have you fall into patterns. That's my pattern. That's how I always end up doing it.
Shadows and rendering.
Okay, so I've got just a random shape here. I'm going to light it from here. And I'm going to start by adding line weights. This is away from the light, so that's going to be a little thicker here. that really rounds away from the light. So this is going to be thicker here. And that's going to be kind of my line weight. Maybe I'll go a little thicker here because it kind of rounds down. It's still kind of into the light, so I probably shouldn't even have done that. And I also could make the choice of breaking it up even where the light is. I don't like breaking my forms only because colorists color the full form and it can look odd when the color breaks from the line. I think, anyway, it's debatable. So I have the choice. I could say, okay, I'm lighting it from here and I could just render this. I don't need to put any shadow on it at all. I could render all the way through. I'll try and make this quick. I don't want it to look totally garbage, but this is, just rendering all the way through. So it's light and, obviously I'd continue all the way up. And so you don't need to use rendering really. And that's why it can be a little confusing, but I could actually get the same effect just by using shadow. And I don't need rendering at all. And so there you go. That's just using shadow. That's the choice. I like my art to look a little darker. I like connecting shadow shapes together. Like I'll have a shape here and I'll connect another shape to it here. And just connecting those kinds of shadow shapes, I really enjoy. And you really can't get that very effectively with rendering, I don't think. So, and then I can just render out of this the same way I would have, just to soften it because I don't want it to be like a harsh line. So that's really how I make those decisions. And now when it comes to an overall larger form, like for this gun, for instance, I went quite a bit thicker here. And I did that because I wanted to pop it and make it look like it's a little wider and it's casting a bit of a deeper shadow. The further something is away from what's below it, the longer the shadow will get. I'm going to draw a plane and a circle. And so here's my plane and my circle. And I'm going to cast a shadow from the circle onto that plane. And there you go. That looks like my light's coming from here. And that looks like my circle is casting a shadow following the, there, fix my shadow line, following the line of my light onto the paper. But if I erase that, got my thing here, and I draw my shadow way over here, it looks like my ball is much further away from the paper and it's casting a shadow much further. So it's a trick that, you can use very effectively to create dimension just using shadows.
How to draw a Hulk-like character.
Okay, so I've got a character. I'm gonna draw him kind of crouched over, just kind of throwing something in there. Should probably be constructing his hips properly, but whatever, we're working fast. So there's my basic proportions for my character. And so I'm just gonna lighten that down, my eraser here. And my head's gonna stay the same. I don't want my arms to be longer, I just want them to be bigger. So I'm gonna go much bigger with the shoulder. This is gonna be shorter as a result. Bigger wrist, my hands are gonna be massive. So my arm actually ends up being longer just because my hand is so big. My other shoulder is gonna be way out here. And I'm just really just taking the same shapes and making them much, much bigger. Big hands. Now, I don't actually do this. I would just draw this character, bigger. I might want to go a little bit bigger with his chest too. See, that's one thing, because I don't, like I said, actually do this. I would actually just draw my character. I'm drawing the same shapes, just drawing them much broader. So here's my chest. Here's my arm. I'm going to make it really thick and short. And here's my other arm. And I want to make sure that my chest is wide enough to accommodate, to be proportional. And I'm going to be pretty short with my torso because, again, I don't want him to be tall. I want him to be broad. My legs will be quite a bit thicker. And so, yeah, this is actually probably not the best example because I don't actually approach it this way. So let me fix it. Talking in circles. Okay, so I want my shoulder to be out here more. So I'm just going to change the angle on that arm a little bit, and that should work. Much wider leg, but again, same length. And so that'll give me a character that's much more, in that proportion. Very easy, really. It's just making everything much thicker. is bigger, but without going longer. So there you go.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I
Proportions in perspective.
If I've got a box that's shaped like this, well, my head would be here, my chest would be here, and you can see how I'm following the lines of my box. And, you know, I'd have, and these are really simple shapes, but this is how you draw a figure in perspective, is you follow the like, so my knees would line up here, my feet would be here, my elbows here, so my other, that's too long, elbows here, my other elbow would be here, my hands here, and so that's a figure in perspective. Obviously very, very simple, but that's how you do it. And if I wanted to draw another figure standing beside him, well, I've got my perspective lines coming like this. My next figure would just be right here, and I could use these lines as a guide, even get another figure in there. I could draw another figure behind. Anyway, that's how you do it.
How to draw a letter.
I'm going to draw an arm, and I'd like to do something a little bit more thorough with this. And I'm going to say, okay, so with something like Black Cat, where it's like PVC, where it's very, very reflective, and if you look at photo reference, it can be really difficult to use because they'll have a light coming from here and a key light here, and 5 different lights on the scene, and all of those reflect, and it creates a pattern that's just not translatable unless you just perfectly copy the entire picture. Or our Adam Hughes, who seems to just, he makes that stuff look incredible. So I wish I could explain how to do it like Adam Hughes, but if I could, I'd be doing it that way. So my understanding of it and the way that I use it is I'm going to say that I've got, and I'm just going to do my standard light. Here it is. And so this side of the arm is dark. And I did this in the video with the metal. So there you go. Just really, simple. And the way that you make it look like leather is just by shadowing the other side. And I'm actually going to give it a little bit of a Fresnel effect, basically just a light, reflectivity on the outside. So doing this, all this does, and this took me a bit to kind of figure out, like, why does this work? I don't understand. And the reason why this works and it makes it look reflective is, and I explained this one in the video too, but if you shadow something from one side and then the other side is just light, then that whole thing is light and it's just diffused across a whole kind of a non-reflective surface. If you have a really reflective surface, and I'm not going to use any outside reflectivity, just so basically what you're going to have is you're going to see really exactly where that light is. And so you'll see, like a red car, you'll see the actual reflection of that light in the car. That's directly where that light is hitting it. And the more reflective something is, the more refined that light source can be, and you get something that's, so I could even go darker with it and make it a really dark kind of a costume and just have a little thin band of light. And there are artists that will do like folds through that, and it can look really cool. Just a really thin little bit of light, and it can really work. All right.
Drawing boots.
So I've got my leg coming out here, my knees up here, and I really like to draw my ankle coming out this way. So from the top, it comes over the top of the foot, and then my ankle actually draw as part of that shape, and that way I can draw the foot kind of in there. And I just like how that works. I don't know what it is. And so from the top, you'd see the foot more like this. And with a boot, you're going to have more of this kind of a shape. And so from here, I'm going to draw a shape for my treads. There's one side. And then here's my treads down here. And there you go. That's kind of a 3/4. And then just to get the divisions in the treads, I can do this. But drawing them all as one block, like basically you can have something like this. And, you know, it's a dimensional shape in space. So you would end up with something like that. And then drawing your treads on top of that as a single shape is so much easier than trying to draw each individual little piece as you go around, and you can erase out from there. But that's how I would do it.
How to draw the neck and trapezius.
Here's my neck from the side. And here's my shoulder right here, my chest, my clavicle right here, this muscle, the big muscle that you have here, I don't know the names, goes and connects to your ear, basically underneath your ear. Then you've got your Adam's apple here, or this area here for someone that doesn't have an Adam's apple. And there are some...
You mean like for a woman?
I don't know, for a woman, right? And then you've got the back of your traps attaching to the back of your skull at the base, and then they come out across the shoulders like this. So let me clean that up a little bit. And a few tendons in there. And so from the back, here's my head, ear. It connects in at the base, just up here. And it has basically this kind of a shape as it comes down. There's a bit of a triangle here. And your shoulders connect into it just like this. They basically slot right into that spot.
Yeah, I spit raps like a heart attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jack the...
Connecting the shoulders onto the torso.
I'm going to draw, this is, you know, my standard figure that it's basically a 3/4. And here's my circle. And so the Andrew Loomis, and it from the front, here would be the basic shape. And he actually cuts in quite a bit, and then he creates like shoulders. And so from the side, or well, from a 3/4, you'd see it as a rounded shape, basically like this. And then the arm connects here inside it at a joint. And so here would be your arm connecting through. And from the front, it would be like this. And so that's kind of what I'm drawing. I'm drawing this, but I don't really cut it in quite as much as Loomis. But I do cut it in. And that's actually a little bit more recent for me. I found it was more effective. And that's just from studying Loomis. It's several years ago now that I kind of made that transition. But that's really what it is. And then when you're drawing your anatomy, you've got your chest here and your shoulder kind of connects in like this. So it's a really useful shape for connecting your shoulders into your musculature of your body. So there you go. That's how I always do it.
And we are done.
First of all, thank you so much to Dr. Rocke for
Joining us.
And also providing this incredible Deadpool illustration and letting me put my picture behind it. And I get to keep this one. So the next one is Dr. Rocke's. He's going to keep that one, but I'm going to put this up on the wall. It's very, very cool. He's a great guy. I mean, as you guys all saw, and I'm sure so many of you are familiar with Dr. Rocke from his channel. So yeah, thank you.
And
very
Dr.
much
Rocke,
again.
just super chatted for 10.99 euros saying, thank you again for doing this, Dave. Looks amazing. Can't wait to edit this. Bull sign, pencil sign, bull sign. See ya.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Rocke. And thank you all very, very much for coming and spending some time with us.
And now click right here to watch how Dr. Rocke came up with his part of the drawing, the Deadpool. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you won't miss out on any of the cool future comic book videos. Have a great day, everyone.